How's everybody doing tonight? Little Burt for your intro there. Some of you don't understand what that means because you weren't here last night, but welcome to another hot tub live stream. If you weren't here last night, it's just going to be us just kind of hanging out, taking some questions, talking about history like we always do, just from a very relaxed place. This is our last night in the hot tub, so we're going to enjoy it. Rob's here, just not in the hot tub. We've got Sander from Sander VK History. Rob has history in your hand. We've got Sean, and we've got Marcel. So
War Movies 101.
War Movies 101, that's right.
On Instagram.
I like it back here. I can mess with people.
There you go. So if you have questions, you can type them in. Sean's going to be following the chat, and he'll pick out the questions that you can ask us. You can ask any or all of us a question. The best questions are probably ones that all of us can answer about historical topics, but it doesn't have to be. If you have something specific for me, or if you have something specific for them, I see JD has already made it.
Oh boy, here we go.
Next time, JD, you're going to be in the hot tub with us for hot tub Q&A, live from Ypres, Belgium.
I need JD for someone else to bring a bit of sanity to this. JD, you've got to come and save me here.
Okay, but before we do the questions, we need to talk about our day.
We do need to talk about our
What
day.
did we do today?
Quite an amazing day, and you guys will be seeing it not only on my channel but also on Rob's channel. We were in the mines below Valquois Hill. So if you saw my video from Valquois, and if you didn't, look it up. I gave the history above, but so much of Valquois' history is about what happened below between the Germans and the French. So anything you guys want to share about what we experienced today?
Well, we planned the whole visit of Valquois around our trip. So it was the base layer of our whole trip.
Right.
Because the tunnels beneath Valquois, which the French and the Germans dug during the First World War, is only opened for a tour on the first Sunday of every month.
Yep.
And there's a time gap of 1.5 hours that you can be there. So it's only 1.5 hours every month that you can go there, sign up to the tour group, and then do a tour inside the tunnels. So we planned our trip around the visit of the tunnels, and it was an amazing day, to say the least.
So there's something like 14 miles of tunnels under Valquois Hill. There were multiple mine explosions, but we were able to go into a couple of the French tunnels and then down into a bunch of the German tunnels. They didn't just have tunneling for mines; they had tunnels for communication and tunnels for living. I mean, we saw some of the command posts under there, and it was really, really pretty cool. And we lucked out a lot because we had a Dutch guide who happened to speak English, and we had been told that we wouldn't have an English-speaking guide. So there was a lot of pressure on me as the only person who kind of understands French, and I wouldn't have understood most of it. So thankfully, we were okay with that.
Yeah, we were very, very lucky with that one.
Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a great job. He was fairly new, but I think we all thought he did a great job with it.
Yeah.
And we had two Americans with us in addition to our group. And the one happened to be, he turned around at one point and thought he recognized me, and then he checked and saw that he was subscribed to the channel. So Alexander, if you're watching, it was great meeting you today.
Alexander.
And thank you for sharing your story. He was a young guy with his dad, and he was sharing with us his story of his great uncle who died in the Meuse-Argonne offensive, was captured by the Germans, and died after being wounded. So I got that on video. You'll get to see Alexander sharing his story a little bit with us. Any questions so far? There's Burt.
There's
Few
Burt again.
coming in. So from Stonecrow, if Jarl could have one general join you in the hot tub from history, who Jarl picking?
One general.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can have a general join us in the hot tub. Who would you
Outside
pick?
of General Sander.
Outside of me, I would probably say Napoleon Bonaparte. That's
I'd probably have to go with Napoleon too.
He'd be an interesting one, right?
Although part of me would love to just hang out in a hot tub with George Patton for a while for some reason.
Yeah, I think Patton. Or if you said Boney, maybe Wellington is not really a general, but
Well, he was though.
maybe just get both of them hanging out in the tub just to see what they say.
I'd tell you, I'd like to have Rawlinson.
Ooh,
Who
okay.
oversaw the Somme. But the rule would be he'd have to be honest if he was in the hot tub, because
Oh.
I'd be interested to see You know, how did he think that Somme attack was going to go versus how it actually did? You know, how much of it did he genuinely believe was going to go well, and then it just didn't? He'd be my choice, I reckon.
And you know, the thing about Rawlinson too that I always found ironic is that a lot of those units that fought on that first day of the Somme were PALS battalions seeing combat for the first time.
Yeah.
And he was one of the driving forces behind there being PALS battalions in the first place.
Yeah.
And
So-
imagine how he would have felt after all that massacred towns in England. And they removed the PALS battalions in 1916 as well, right? After a few months after the 1st of July, right?
Well, I mean, they stayed in the field. I mean, a lot of them
Yeah.
went to Ypres the next year.
They stopped. They
Oh.
stopped recruiting them in the same.
Oh,
way.
that was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
it. They stopped
they were
recruiting
still
them.
there,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
I'm just looking now. Okay, from Yazuzu Rossi. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Hello everyone. My question is for Chris. What is your favourite campaign fought by Napoleon Bonaparte, 1796/1815, and what battle do you prefer the most?
My favorite campaign and my favorite battle are probably different. I think my favorite campaign has got to be Italy. He's a nobody who, because of a political connection, gets a job. I mean, because of a political connection and basically one heroic battle, he gets thrust into command of a poorly equipped, poorly trained, poorly fed army and just runs roughshod over Italy. And that catapults him into running the country within a couple years. So to me, that's a favorite campaign. But Austerlitz is probably my favorite battle. That's a place I really hope to get to in the next year or two. Anybody else?
No, I don't know that much.
Oh.
About
Yeah,
that.
no, me neither. Same as you, say.
I would say Waterloo, but that's too
We're all going to
cliche.
say same
Yeah,
as Chris.
Yeah, same
I was
as
going to
Chris.
say that.
I've got another question here from Andreas Skold. Again, apologies if I've butchered your name there. But what geographical regions of history do you think needs to be studied more?
Cool.
So what geographical regions?
I think what's now a pretty interesting topic is the Israeli, Palestinian, Lebanon, Syria part, Iran, Iraq, like that part, maybe like the deep history, not the recent history,
Yeah.
but maybe.
Which the deep history is connected to why the recent history. In some
Yeah,
way,
well, with Israel
But
and
yeah.
stuff and the Palestine,
Yeah.
that's right. But more of, I would have liked to know more about what happened in Syria like 2,000 years ago. So because there's so much ancient buildings there that have been destroyed by IS as well, by ISIS, and that's just
for
Russian
me,
history.
I think East Asian history. Just as somebody who grew up in the United States, and so I'm most heavily familiar with Western history. I just know so little about such a consequential part of the world where such a huge population of the world lives. And I mean, like people like Admiral Yi, for example, who I know just a tiny bit about. Probably one of the greatest military leaders in history, and I doubt very many people in the West even know who he is.
Sorry, I'm just chuckling at JD.
Oh boy.
He just said, coming from a guy who mispronounced everything, the British pronunciation of Jarl was the highlight of my day. Thanks, JD.
Nice.
I want to know from JD, is he planning on sitting with us in the hot tub next year for a Q&A?
JD, Eber, hot tub,
He
let's
doesn't
go.
have a choice. He does.
Oh, it's mandatory.
We're gonna plan this trip around when you're available, JD. So
We're already looking at houses with hot tubs.
we have found there's several hot tubs in the Ypres salient.
Yeah, I've already looked.
You can always come and stand out the back here with me.
No.
There you go.
Mason D, what's more interesting, World War One or World War Two? Question for everyone.
World War One.
War.
Yeah, one.
One.
In terms of more interesting World War One, yeah, I just think there's more stories in it. I think individual stories. Well, in reality, there's probably not more, but I just find them so fascinating.
To be fair, we're here visiting World War I battlefields this
Yeah.
week,
So we're pretty biased this week.
we're a little biased at the moment. Yeah,
But still, even if we're not
Yeah.
biased at this moment, I would say World War One, especially like what caused World War One, what triggered it. Like a lot of people think that only the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was the only reason that World War One started. But even if that didn't happen, it would probably start anyway.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I think World War One for me. I mean, my great grandfather fought in the Somme, so it's always got a place. World War II, I think the strategic planning that went into it, obviously times had changed, so there's a lot more land, sea and air, shall we say, and strategical planning with paratroopers and things, so they've both got a place, I guess, if that's the right way of saying it. But World War One, you know, it's just crazy how it happened, and I think in terms of interest and the way they fought, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially with the mines,
Yeah.
like
Oh, go ahead.
I really
Marcel.
like how you can see how wars evolved.
Yeah.
There's less than
Yeah.
30 years between the two, but they're totally different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You should see the planes in the beginning of in 1914 and the
Yeah.
planes at the end of
Yeah.
1918. Like the technical advances
So-
that they did is insane.
So we went today, and you're going to see another one of the videos that I did was on like just looking for relics and stuff like that. Which be careful with that; people die from that. And our first day out, just walking, we just all went out and started walking through a farmer's field, and we found like ridiculous stuff. Of course, Rob found a Stokes mortar on the
Yeah,
Somme
that's crazy.
battlefield a few days ago, but we found 3 French P1 grenades in one field, like within maybe 100 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of
That's
shrapnel, all kinds of stuff. But today, we went up to the site where Henry Gunther was killed. Henry Gunther is generally agreed to be the last soldier killed in World War I. He was killed at 10:59, a minute before the armistice took effect. And literally right by the monument where Henry Gunther's remembered, Marcel goes over to the side of the field there and finds, what was it that you found?
It was
a
a
shell
German
casing,
shell casing, 77 millimeters.
It had the date 1917 on it. It's big bottom of a German shell, just fascinating. They found Sandra
fork.
found a fork,
Yeah, a fork.
there,
Some buttons.
some buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
buttons.
It's just the stuff's everywhere.
Yep. It's completely littered. Like if
Yeah.
people want to metal detect here, you're crazy because it will go off like every second.
Yeah. Tell your
everywhere you
pole
walk.
story.
The
Your pole story.
the pole story.
Your poles on the side of the road.
They're making jokes because I told them a lot of times when we went when we were driving in the car next to the farmers' fields, the farmers have one pole and on each landmark of their farm to highlight where they put the bombs if they find something on their farm. So they highlight that, and I. How many times did they probably say it? Maybe 10 times this weekend.
I wasn't
So,
in the
yeah.
car with you, so I didn't have to hear it every time.
Well, a lot of times, and
It
they
was
make fun of me for
87
it.
times.
Yeah, 87. Yeah.
That's about right, yeah.
mad.
Some good questions.
There's a few coming through.
Oh no, we see Sanders' nipples.
Bear with me. Oh, would you rather be a kamikaze pilot in World War II or a French soldier in World War One?
Kamikaze pilot, because then it's over quick, to be fair.
Yeah, I think I would agree, to be honest. Especially after seeing what the French went through, especially
Yeah.
around Verdun.
Wow.
It depends where you're stationed.
Oh, this
As
may
a
be
French soldier.
also a good question. First day on the 1st of July on the Somme, or days as a French soldier here in Verdun? What would you choose?
Probably take the first day at the Somme,
Yeah.
because that was one day.
Yeah.
If you survived that day,
You're good.
I mean, there was still more fighting, but
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if I was sure to die either way, I'd rather be the kamikaze. But otherwise, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the conditions were just brutal on this front.
Right, from Sir Yabuki. Chris, who's your favourite failed US presidential candidate?
I know that one probably.
Failed U.S. presidential
Yeah.
candidate, favorite one. Oh boy, that's
Starts
a
with a W?
great. No, he was actually he won. They're talking about somebody who never. got
Oh,
elected.
never. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe in failed as didn't do a good job.
William Jennings Bryan, not because I necessarily like agree with him on everything, but dude got the nomination so many times and never won. But his determination to keep losing was just really impressive to me. Yeah, so I would say William Jennings Bryan.
I maybe have a question for the chat. Like, maybe a fun question, like a trivial question. Like, how many % of all the shells, artillery shells fired here in Verdun didn't go off? It's maybe a fun for the. And don't use Google because
they
you guys
will.
will cheat.
They
You
absolutely
guys will
will.
cheat. So, how much % of
I
the
would.
shells who were fired here at Verdun didn't go off?
And keep in mind the opening bombardment on the day of the attack was 1 million shells. How many of those didn't go off? There's estimates. I mean, there's no perfect answer.
Okay,
Okay.
people are. It wasn't not the right one still, but
25%, 30%, 40, 99, 50, 30.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
20 to 30% probably. Yeah.
They say online, they say online in the multiple sources, they say like 20-ish percent. Yeah, 20-ish to 25%. Just imagine then, 80 million or 60 million
What for?
for a shell silver
Verdun?
fighter
Just in
in Verdun,
Verdun?
just in Verdun.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah, 'cause-
60 or 80 million shells, and then imagine that only 1/4 or 1/3 didn't go off. It's just crazy.
Okay, Nicholas Garza, what kind of stogie was Sander smoking in the beginning of the video?
It was a cigar. Don't worry.
What
it was a
kind? No,
cigar.
that's what he
Brand.
means. What
Well,
kind?
Brian, I don't know. You gave it to me. It
I
was
don't know.
it
I'm
was
not
a
an
gift
expert.
from Marcel. So mostly I smoke Cubans, and
This is why you shouldn't smoke those things, because people just hand you stuff you don't even know what it is. Could have been anything
I
in
think
there.
I think it was a cigar from Nicaragua.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not
So yeah.
There's a few people commenting that you're not in the tub, Rob.
Are they really?
That's all right. At least he's down here.
Yeah.
I don't blame you for wanting to see me in the tub, but it's probably for the best that I'm
Nick's still yet to make an appearance at all, so
Yeah. Nick is still at the house upstairs.
he's just gonna enjoy watching it back with us later and making fun of all of us.
Maybe he's watching now.
Here's a good
It
one
could be.
from Andre David. What battle do you think was more timeline changing? The Battle of the Somme or the Battle of Stalingrad in World War II? So the Battle of the Somme, World War One, or Battle of Stalingrad, World War Two?
Pretty easy.
Stalingrad.
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 100% Stalingrad.
Yeah, Stalingrad basically the doom of the German
At the Somme,
army.
at the Somme, how much time was there in between that they lost it all again?
Well, I mean, it took them several months. By November, they had made the gains, and I don't know, a couple miles.
Yeah.
20 miles, 15. It wasn't even that much in some places.
Not
think-
much. No.
Then they lost it all back in the Kaiserschlacht offensive in the spring of 1918. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever shot a gun from World War One or World War Two?
Yes.
Yes, I
Oh,
have.
Yes. Shot the Martini Henry,
ooh,
which was really cool. Yeah, that was an experience. Like those bullets are as big as your thumb, which is they call it the elephant killer as well, I think.
yeah.
And it was
It's a pretty big round.
Yeah, it was used in the Zulu Wars, I think, as well. And
There was one in the museum, right?
yeah.
Well, yeah, the Martini Henry was the main service rifle of British troops during
Yeah.
the Zulu campaign.
I have not. So if you have one and are available, let me know.
yeah. Your chance to meet Chris. Hey.
We'll make a video about it.
I think my favourite was probably a BAR.
Ooh,
a World
yeah.
War II BAR.
Pretty
That
heavy,
was-
isn't it?
oh, it was a cool
Yeah.
gun to shoot.
What
yeah.
what caliber is that fire?
It's
30-06?
30
Yeah,
cal,
30,
yeah, it's the
30,
same as the
30,
Garand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there's two rates of fire. Like you can have it sort of slow full automatic and fast full automatic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was good. Be a heavy. You need to be a hench guy to carry
Marcel,
that.
and you?
Yeah, lots of wood. I only fired the M1 Garand.
I'm on Grand.
That's
okay.
also pretty heavy with all the wood and.
I've held one, but I've never fired one. Yeah.
I haven't even held one. I'm the only one here who hasn't held a fired one at all.
I've held one, and I have heard the distinct ding that it makes. Yeah.
Wow.
I shot a Luger as well and an
Ooh,
M1 carbine.
oh, nice.
That was pretty
Oh,
cool.
wow.
And a musket. That was from the 1600s. It was a British rifle, by the way.
A musket.
Yeah, a British musket. Yeah.
Wow.
Mattyco 383. I think this is more prominent to you because I know that you love Churchill. Do you think Churchill is overrated?
Hell no. Hell no. No. No, in my opinion, not. Well, he is. People remember him in history like, yeah, like it should, of course. Like every politician or president or prime minister has some black pages in his book, of course. But yeah, who hasn't? To be fair. But yeah, Churchill. Like without Churchill, probably. I don't know if Chamberlain would have still been in charge.
Or even if you had, who was the lord that wanted to, the guy in the cabinet that was close, like that wanted to negotiate.
Oh, no, not Levitt. Was it?
Somebody will say it in the
Oh,
chat.
Yeah, that was. He was.
It was played by Stephen Delane in the movie.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
By Stannis Baratheon.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That was the guy who screamed in the war rooms against Churchill. And Churchill
Yeah.
was like, with
Yeah.
the, how can you negotiate with a tiger when your head is in its mouth?
Yeah. I would say this about Churchill: right guy at the right time.
Exactly.
That's,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I think.
Yeah.
I think there can be plenty of legitimate questions about how good a prime minister in general Churchill was,
Yeah.
but I think Churchill probably is exactly what was needed at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, from Charlie, what is your favourite tech innovation that changed the nature of conflict / period in history? So what tech innovation I think for me, it's got to be aviation.
Aviation or tank
And,
as well.
well, yeah, tank warfare, but I think aviation. It's a difficult one because what's your favourite innovation? Obviously,
Radar.
Radar.
Death.
Radar.
Ooh, radar.
When in fact communication, right? Because that
Comms.
was one of the massive problems in the First
Yeah.
World War was the lack of communication.
That's true.
They were still First World War. They were still at a stage where they were sending carrier pigeons with messages, whereas by the Second World War they had mobile radios and everything. So that has changed the face of the tactical side.
There,
of the war anyway.
I don't remember who it was that was quoted as saying that somebody asked a hypothetical one time, like about the American Civil War. If you went back with some AK-47s and gave them to the South, would it change the outcome? And they said no, just give them a couple walkie-talkies, and you change the outcome. Absolutely true.
I still think those pigeons are better than my phone service. Someone put barbed wire. I mean, I guess. Yeah, you look. You saw. We saw that photo of the barbed wire that was, like 30 feet deep. Like, how are you getting through that?
Also, I think the most common enemy of all the soldiers was not each other, but barbed wire. I think.
World War I artillery. I mean, the changes in. I mean, artillery, machine guns, obviously, and artillery is the main killer on the battlefield in World War I.
Still, even today, right? Even in Ukraine, it's still the main killer artillery. Yeah. Not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, chat. So.
Yeah. I'm just looking through. There's not
More-
too many questions.
More
coming
questions about
through.
Churchill. More questions about Churchill, please.
To me, Churchill is like Lincoln, a flawed man with the best intentions and an incredible presence of mind.
Is Burt
It's
getting some
true,
love?
yeah.
It's a fair point,
Yeah.
How you
Waking
doing?
up with a whiskey.
How you doing back there, Bert?
Is he getting some love again in the chat? Or?
Yeah, everybody
much.
give some love to Burt. He's here
Hey, Bert.
again. He was
I've
here
seen him
yesterday.
mentioned a few times. In
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Scottish mad lad, have you heard of Alfred Anderson?
No.
He was the last Scottish soldier of World War One and the last of the old Contemptibles and last witness at the Christmas truce.
Oh wow,
Oh, okay.
interesting.
It's not someone I've heard.
Might
of, to
be worth
honest.
might be worth a video about a
Yeah.
guy like that.
Yeah,
That's
when
interesting.
we go to Ypres.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I do know, if you guys aren't familiar with them already, the channel Battle Guides. That's what it's called, right? Battle Guides?
Yeah, Battle Guide.
Battle Guides. So they do fantastic stuff, and you need to check out their channel anyway. But they just did a video kind of telling the stories of the last man from each of the armies in World War I to be killed. So really good.
Okay, we've got Ed Mijares. I'm sorry.
Ed, it's Ed. Ed.
No problem, Ed.
Which tank would you like to drive or be a crew of in a war?
Tiger.
Panther.
In a war, probably no tank.
In a war, I'll take an M1 Abrams. Thank you. Preferably in the Boer War with an M1 Abrams. But no, I mean, yeah, I'd probably have to be Tiger.
Or maybe a Sherman, because what if you're driving on the road and then all of a sudden your tank breaks down? Like the Sherman is probably one of the easiest to get you on the move again. And if sitting tanks without air superiority is like a sitting duck waiting to be killed.
I'd rather not be in a
they
tank
didn't
at all.
specify the
No.
war. I'll just jump in the Challenger 2. And
Oh, didn't specify the war. Okay, I was thinking about World War II. Yeah. And the Challenger, yeah.
Grant, who can't handle their liquor the most?
Out of us? Hey, time out here. I had more than you did.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was 40%.
Oh, that's some stories for another hot tub meeting Q&A.
To be fair, he handled it better than I would have done. So.
Yeah, that's true. You handled it pretty well until the next day.
It was
so.
more the next morning I couldn't handle it.
Which battle was more important to the world history, the Battle of Stalingrad or the Battle of Trafalgar?
Ooh. I guess, how do you define important to world history?
I mean, what would deflect?
Like, Stalingrad was probably more important from the standpoint of it was a good thing that the Germans lost at Stalingrad because it changed the tide of that war. Listen, I'm on a Napoleon kick right now. You can make the argument that Napoleon losing at Waterloo and everything that came before it, was it good or bad for world history? I don't know. And Trafalgar is one of the things that seals Napoleon's fate in the long run. I would say Stalingrad.
Yeah, I think Stalingrad it was also on a bigger scale, of course, and had a more significant build-up importance in that era, I think, because after Stalingrad, the Germans were losing, panicking. After that, more fronts opened as well. They were losing Africa. You know, maybe it was, yeah, it might be more important.
Yeah. Was the Treaty of Versailles the main cause of World War Two?
But wasn't it the Great Depression in Germany? Was it caused by the Treaty
It
of
helped.
Versailles?
It was.
Yeah,
It
yeah, then
kinda-
probably it is.
It was one of the
There's
reasons.
never
Yeah.
only one reason. It is definitely a factor. You can never, just like Sanders said earlier with the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, that only triggered World War One because there were a whole bunch of other things that happened that put Europe in a place where that could trigger World War One. Because there were other assassinations happening that didn't trigger World War One. That one at that place at that time with that person and the nations involved triggered World War One. So you can make the same argument with the Treaty of Versailles. If the Treaty of Versailles is not as harsh, do the other events happen and unfold that lead to that?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never say it's the main reason, but it's definitely
One of the big
a
reasons.
main reason.
These are better questions than yesterday.
they
to
are.
be fair,
Yeah.
There's not much going on now. People keep asking how often you think about the Roman Empire. This happened yesterday.
Oh yeah, we had that one yesterday
Am I
too.
missing
Yeah.
something? But there's multiple people saying it.
Well, I do a
It's
lot.
a big thing
Like,
that's going
it's
on.
like a
Like
TikTok
yeah,
thing,
it's a
yeah.
TikTok thing. Yeah.
We thought about it yesterday, but today not so
No,
much.
not until you brought it up. Now we're thinking about
We've
it.
now thought about
Yeah.
it 2 days in a row. Yeah. So.
Not much else being asked at the minute from our favourite US general. I like Grant with his crazy gaze.
He did have a crazy
Who's
gaze.
your favourite US general? I mean, as a Brit, Patton's the one that I think is always at the forefront of my mind. And I know about.
he's the one that we
Historically,
probably
you know,
learn the most about.
Unless you
isn't
do
he?
your own individual research, but he's the one that was. You know,
I mean,
especially with him
it's-
and Monty and
Yeah,
their
it's
banter.
Grant for me, but yeah, I mean, Patton's definitely favorite. I mean, Patton was not a great human being,
Yeah, it's true.
but a fantastic general.
Yeah. He has a funny character though. If you
Yeah.
read some
Well,
stuff
and
back
it's
on
and
it.
if you've ever seen the movie Patton, which is fantastic, and I'm not trying to
Yeah.
discount it, I thought George C. Scott had Patton's like persona and character down, but the voice is so different. Like I've said this before. Go watch on YouTube a speech by Patton and listen to his voice. It's not what you expect.
Same as David Beckham.
David Beckham, same thing. Yep. Hey, somebody update me.
That's a national hero you're talking about there, Marcel.
Somebody update me on the Browns score when you get a chance, because I am not watching the second half. So
We've had a few people ask this one, and WaffleBro24 just asked again, and it just says thoughts on the Vietnam War.
this is something you guys were talking about.
I'll give
Yeah.
it to Sean this one.
Yeah, so as a Brit, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, especially in my line of work. I get a lot of time working on my own, so I always have it on in the background. And the Vietnam War has been prevalent for me recently. Now, although the British weren't actively involved, I've listened to countless books now about MACV-SOG, Special
Yeah.
Forces.
Yeah.
Those guys are nuts. Like my
That's something else.
my thoughts politically on the war, I don't know, but what the American soldiers did and the Australians, like especially those Special Forces teams, 6-man teams,
Yeah.
doing the stuff they did.
As individual heroic stuff that happened in Vietnam, it's amazing. It's crazy what the humans are capable of in certain situations. And as a political side, yeah, it was just a mess. You know, It was just a
And
complete
Vietnam's not unique in that every war brings out
Afghanistan
the
as well.
worst in some people, brings out a side, and it allows people to
Oh, like a-
go
yeah.
down a dark path and do things they might not have ever otherwise done in their lives, like the atrocities they commit.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I've never been in a combat situation, but I would imagine some people, just like in any stressful situation in life, some people handle it well, some people don't.
Jordan Peterson has something that he said about the camp guards in World War II of the Germans. That any person isn't born evil, but when they are in the right circumstances with the right amounts of power that they will change, like 100%. And if people say, especially when you're born in that time and you grow up in that sort of situation, then yeah, anyone could have been in that type of position.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anybody give the Browns score? Is it still 10-0?
Do you want me to look it up?
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be even better.
Okay, from JD, excluding channels represented in the tub and in the chat, what YouTube channels are you liking right now?
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, history based.
Oh, it could be anything,
it just
I guess.
says what channels
Yeah.
are you liking right now, so just any.
I like the Outdoor Boys. It's a father who has, I think, 3 sons, and he does a lot of survival things in Alaska, fishing, eating on the fish, making campfires in the snow, and building shelters. That's what I'm really into lately.
There's a British YouTuber called Hayes Outdoors, which is similar. He does a lot of hiking and wild camping. His sense of humour is amazing. Like if he's one of them, if you're feeling down in life, just go and watch one of his episodes. He's so
Nice.
humble. And Sam, the cooking guy, who's an American guy, I pick up a lot of recipes from him.
So for me, you guys always hear me talk about favorite history channels. So it's nice when you do history on YouTube to get a distraction and do other stuff. So 2 that I really like right now. One's called Jet Lag the Game, and it's these young guys, probably in their 20s, who just like they'll come to Europe and they'll play a game of tag. Where they have all these rules, and the way they do it, like you have to earn money to be able to travel. At the end of a couple of days, whoever is closest to their destination wins. It's really, really cool, and it's a fairly new channel. It's a lot of fun. The other one for me that I've been really liking lately, and I had it in my mind and all set to go, and now it just floated. Oh, Away Days. So as a young British guy who just travels a lot to obscure, football for the European audience, stadiums, and he'll throw a dart at a map, and wherever it hits, he has to go to the closest home game to that one. And so it's really cool to kind of see a lot of the culture of the game and those kinds of things. And he gets to do a lot of cool things. Like he was right on the field for Messi's first game in Inter Miami, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. Marcel.
I only watch you guys.
Boom.
I'm a big fanboy.
Any
Europe?
movie channels or anything that are good, man? What's a good movie channel? I don't even know.
War movies 101.
War Movies 101.
101.
But that was excluded from JD's question.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one that I like. As a person who makes videos and a photographer by trade, I love photography channels. There's one called David Manning, which is a good one. David Manning, he does like camera reviews, camera tutorials, tech reviews, in a way that's just kind of good and easy to understand. So if you want to know anything about cameras, David Manning's a good channel.
Nice. Wait. Did you check the score?
Oh, 13-0.
13-0. Okay.
Did see a good one. For the non-Americans, this is from Duff6.
Everybody but me, that is.
What part of American history is most interesting to you?
Ooh.
Let's start with you,
Civil War,
Sander.
I'd say.
With
Sorry,
me,
man.
yeah. To be fair, I don't really care about the Civil War, in my opinion. So I'm thinking of something else. I probably
Just dismissed the whole Civil War.
probably when the Dutch were occupying.
That's Dutch history.
Having a control of New York and stuff.
That was before America existed. That's Dutch history.
Okay,
time
that's
is
not
up.
American
Yeah,
history. Okay, true.
Some of
Right,
that stuff's
true.
got into like the
True.
Revolutionary
It does.
War
Oh,
and
definitely
stuff.
does.
Yeah, some of that's interesting.
Hey, our only president whose first language was not English, it was Dutch. So Martin Van Buren, spoke Dutch
true.
as a first language.
Maybe the JFK assassination.
Okay.
That's something pretty interesting, like the conspiracy stuff, all that, and I'm diving deep in that into that. There was what's that guy again who made a
Let me
great,
know.
What's the
Let me
guy?
know.
It was that guy.
Lemino?
He
Yeah.
also did videos about David Cooper. And,
Yeah,
Jack the Ripper
Lemino.
and stuff.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Oh,
He
did
does a great job.
Great documentary.
What about you?
I think for me, it's probably when you guys threw us Brits back in the sea along with our tea.
Oh, the tea.
The
Yeah,
Revolution. Nice. Marcel?
I have 2. Indian Wars.
Ooh, that's a good
Oh,
one.
okay, yeah.
I need to do some stuff on the Indian Wars.
And also Prohibition.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah, the
that's a good one
Prohibition
too.
time.
Yeah, Prohibition must have sucked.
Al Capone. With all the
break,
gangsters, Al Capone and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Peaky Blinders?
Yeah.
They were in Britain, but they connected. They connected to
America.
it to America in the show.
Exporting whiskey out there or something. weren't
Winston
they? Yeah.
Winston Churchill being in America. that's interesting.
Montgomery or Patton?
Montgomery.
Patton.
Patton.
No, I'll have to go Montgomery because I'm British.
My favorite quote, and I don't know that he ever said it, but it's in the movie Patton, is when Patton says, "Of course I'm a prima donna. At least I'll admit it. The problem with Monty is he won't admit it." But for all their rivalry and the way people think they hate each other, privately they seem to have both had a lot of respect for one another as generals.
Yeah.
I think there was a rivalry that sometimes took them to dark places, but I think they both respected each other.
Patton didn't like it when Montgomery got all the supplies for Market Garden, and
No.
Patton was waiting on his ass in France.
No, and Patton didn't do. I don't think he did the right thing when he basically decided he was going to steal all the glory in Sicily and disobey his orders.
Yeah.
Shay Williams, this is a bit of an open one because there's lots here, but what do you think was the most heroic thing a person or people have done during war?
The
So
war.
I think it's rather than maybe one story each about someone
Okay.
you've heard of, maybe.
I'll give one just because this is relatively recent for me. Just having come from Munich, and I did a little video about this that you guys will be seeing in the next few weeks. The white feather movement, or the white rose movement, white feather movement, something completely different and not at all heroic. The white rose movement in Munich was this student movement where these students actively spoke out against the Nazi government, knowing that they would be executed for it in a nonviolent way. They passed out flyers, they did all this stuff. It was a near certainty that they were going to die. And they were young, 19, 20 years old, and they spoke out anyway. And many of them were killed. So stuff like that, the Warsaw Uprising, basically situations where you do the right thing and you fight back, even though there's almost no hope you're going to make it out.
Yeah, I have one, but I forgot his name. That's really bad. It's the umbrella guy during Market Garden.
Oh, yeah,
What's his
yeah.
name again?
The British...
Yeah, the British guy. He
Oh,
was
man, what's his
telling to his men were hiding behind the wall while they get shot at, and he was just walking towards them saying, "Come on, lad, I'll have an umbrella. I will stop the bullets." So,
Is he the one that said, "We're out of ammunition, God save the king"?
Well, that's
was that
controversial, but
Oh,
that
was
was it was Frost, but it was probably him or it was another guy
Oh,
in
okay.
his.
With his piper, Bill Millin.
No,
No, not him.
Yeah.
no.
Somebody will say it in
Paul
the chat.
Woodage did a.
Somebody will say it in the chat. Somebody's
yeah.
going to know
Please
it.
help me, the umbrella.
There's
man,
already
Market Garden.
always somebody who knows it.
Yeah, no, I know.
I
What's
think
his name again? What a shame that I don't know it.
a story that's prominent to me is one you explained when we went to Eiselstein. And it was about
Oh, the little boy.
It was about a young German soldier.
Hans
No, Karl Heinz.
Karl-Heinz
Karl-Heinz
Roche.
Roche,
So yeah,
Karl-Heinz
as
Roche.
correct me if I'm wrong, he was a German soldier in World War II, and he's the only German to have a statue built in Holland
Yep.
commemorating a German soldier, and that was during an artillery barrage or some form of airstrike.
Yep.
He left his cover to save two Dutch children, got them to safety, and was killed on the way back.
Yep.
For me, there's so many more, what the British have done as well, but he was an occupying force, but took it upon himself to help these
Mo-
children. And he was a young guy, he was 18
and
years
that's
old.
what we just talked about, how some people react well to stress. Here's a guy in the midst of inhumanity showing his humanity in a situation where probably none of the other guys around him would have been willing to do that.
Yeah. Well, I saw a super chat coming in as well.
Was Douglas MacArthur a good general?
MacArthur.
And
Not
MacArthur,
nearly as
that's
good
from
as
Marty Griff.
not nearly as good as Douglas MacArthur thought he was.
I say people have said.
I'm not a
about the name
MacArthur
already.
fan. There's nothing MacArthur
Yeah, it was
did.
Digby.
Digby
yeah,
Water.
Digby. Yeah.
There's not. Oh, that's it.
It was Digby.
There's nothing
Thanks,
MacArthur did that screams to me great general. I don't know. I just tell me what he did that makes him great compared to some of the other guys.
Yeah.
If you could choose a time in history to live in, which would it be?
Probably now because of the hygiene and all the
Yeah.
advances.
Now,
of course.
Time
now.
right yeah.
As a spectator, I would do the Roman times, just hanging above everybody, just flying around, going for a time. But really living,
I posted something about this on Twitter the other day. I get so irritated when I see people whining on social media about how this is one of the worst times in history to live. You have no idea. I mean, we have it as good. We've had some bad things happen. Nobody's saying there aren't bad things. And for some people, it's horrible right now. If you're living in Gaza or Israel, it is not a good time to be alive. Or in Ukraine, or, and North Korea or a lot of other places. But comparatively speaking, in world history, we've got it made.
Yep.
Lots of people asking how Bert's doing.
Hi, Burt.
How you doing, Bert? How you doing, Bert? Our last night with Bert. We're gonna miss Bert.
Bert's doing good.
We're gonna take Burt.
We're gonna
with
take
us,
Burt.
He's gonna take- and then we're going to smuggle Bert out of this country.
Yeah.
Take him
and,
out.
Yeah.
We need Bert. We need Bert with us in Ypres.
I
Yeah.
get to spend time with him every day.
He's our mascot from now on. So.
Lots of people just saying hello to everyone.
Hello.
Tuned
Hello.
in. Got a few more join.
We're not gonna go as long tonight. Well, we've already gone 41 minutes. So I'm just
41 already?
I'm not even gonna say that because last night I said 20 minutes and we went an hour and 5. So.
Shay Williams, I don't know much about this, but do you think the American Revolution was actually justified based... Oh, someone's just commented and removed what I was reading. Based off the tax issue they used, or was it an overreaction? Do you want me to read that again?
Absolutely not justified. Listen, I'm a little pro-British in my heart anyway, but nah. It was so much more than taxation without representation, and honestly, it was perfectly justified to tax the colonies for all the expenditure that had taken place to protect the colonies during the French and Indian War, the 7 Years' War. So, nah.
Mrs. Sambles,
Oh, what she's
Oh.
saying.
watching you lot in the hot tub has made my weekend.
Hey, Mr. Sambles. Thank you.
And considering Rob's not in the hot tub, she's actually talking to the 4 of us.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm not even going to argue it.
Lily Artemis, I think we had this slightly earlier, but maybe she wasn't here or not.
It's a super chat, by the way.
Which historical military leader would you have, would have been the best person to relax in the hot tub with?
We did,
To
but we can
relax.
answer that one again, yeah.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill.
Churchill,
He would probably drink more whiskey here than all of us could even handle.
It would be Grant, and I wouldn't let him touch the stuff. Because he can't hold his liquor.
Same as you did 2 days ago. I mean,
America and Britain were like the Spider-Man meme where they just point fingers at each other.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Which is your most impressive figure in history? It's a bit repeating itself.
Churchill.
Ivor said mine's probably Augustus.
Napoleon for me, most impressive. Oh,
Marcus
Mr. Terry,
Aurelius.
Mr. Terry's in the chat. I just saw.
Yeah.
Mr. Terry, you gonna join us in Ypres? We can get you in the hot tub.
We'd have a lot more peace in the world if leaders just hung out in a hot tub together.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
That's from Mr. Terry.
100%. Yeah.
Put Napoleon and Tsar Alexander in a hot tub and say, "Work it out." You two."
I'm just
Kaiser Wilhelm, King George V, Nicholas II,
Yeah.
Franz Joseph. Franz Joseph might have a little trouble getting in because he was in his 80s, but you know.
Still.
And Kaiser Wilhelm could have just hit his withered arm down under the water and nobody ever would have saw it.
Oh, Mr. Terry's in for Ypres.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
All right. We'll add you to the chat. I've got his phone number, so we'll add him to the chat.
No worries.
Ypres in May. Could Napoleon survive D-Day if he was in the 1940s?
He will probably be in front, like leading the troops, like, well, lads. I don't think
Could
so.
have
It's the
survived.
same as what Churchill wanted, right?
I mean,
Any
his
more-
way of thinking during that time frame
Yeah,
may-
it's not
may contradict each other a little bit.
I will say this though. I mean, if you think about what the German strategy was there, and like the two different options Germany had in fighting off D-Day, it's do we let them get inland and then hit them with our reinforcements, or do we try to stop them at the beach? That was one thing that Napoleon was great at, was having his forces arrayed in such a way that he would quickly react. So I think he would have handled the defense a lot better than the Germans did.
Ronald Navas, I think he's asked this a couple of times now. Are you ever likely to visit the Philippines? There's a lot of military history there.
Yeah, I mean, if I ever get the chance, I've never been to farthest west I've ever been, which I guess technically becomes east if you go west far enough. But furthest west I've ever been is Hawaii, the island of Kauai. So,
read this.
yeah, I'd love to
My arm's
get
about
to that
to
part
die.
of the world sometime.
Want a beer?
Okay. Let me see.
What's the score? And then I need to know what you're laughing about.
Mr. Terry says Napoleon would drown in that hot tub. He's too small.
He was average height for the time.
Yep.
He was.
It's all propaganda.
He was only 2 inches shorter than me, so he'd been all right.
Looking at some of those uniforms in the museum,
They were
though,
tiny.
and
They
I
were
was like,
absolutely tiny.
I embraced my love of beer and Dominoes too much because there's
And
no way
listen,
I'm getting in that.
For the record, Napoleon was several inches taller than Lord Nelson. So, just saying, British propaganda.
Ooh, it's 20-0.
20-0.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, 20-0.
Awesome.
And somebody's asking you, Jeffrey Duffin, about an update on the podcast. So people are still interested in your podcast.
All right,
Chris.
so here's what I'll say about the podcast. The podcast, first of all, was not something I ever intended to do. They reached out to me, the podcast company did, and I was actually kind of hesitant at first, but I knew I had enough like research material from videos that I had done that I could do some podcast episodes, but I burned through all of that. And honestly, I'm having a hard enough time keeping up with things like my gaming channel, which strictly from a financial standpoint is a way more of a return than the podcast is. So yes, I want to do more podcast episodes. And when I start doing more research for things like my 1776 video, where I'm doing like original content from my home office for the YouTube channel, I'll definitely turn those into podcasts too.
And not really some questions, like interesting questions coming in. So if people have, because we're probably gonna wrap it up in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll go an hour, so about 12 more minutes here.
Yeah. So if people have some really good and interesting questions, it's the time to ask them now. So Gage K says, "What is the best time period to learn about?" But then let's add it like this: what is the best time period to learn towards children in schools to learn about?
20-0.
Nice. Is there a best? I mean,
No.
everybody's gonna have their own preferences.
Yeah, but what would be the best like teach like what the kids learn about and maybe
Start
applying their own life?
I think World War II is super important in the really the
Yeah.
build up to World War II,
Yeah.
because that's such a classic example of how an entire nation and the entire world can be dragged down a particular path because of a small group of people and their ideology, and that's a warning, I think, for the world. And I think in Germany they do a great job of that. Like when we were in Germany, I was at Dachau. There were a bunch of school groups there, German school groups, and they were all learning about that. And I think they're really intentional about that there. I don't know what
Yeah.
you guys think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think World War One and Two really. I mean, as a British guy, you know, us on our island, I think that had the biggest sort of impression on our country in
Yeah.
in
And
recent
the
years.
the lead up to World War One is a great case study in failed diplomacy, because there were so many opportunities that war could have been avoided even after the assassination. And it wasn't just one nation. Pretty much every nation in some way, shape, or form got it wrong in that diplomacy.
Yeah.
Anybody else on that one?
No, not really.
No.
No.
You nailed it.
Let me check. Not really that.
10 more minutes.
Yeah. This chatty Kathy 92 says, if you could create a historic battle with any historical figures, like kings, generals, or time period, anything or anyone in historical, what would you choose?
I'll let you guys go first on that one.
So I would love to see what if the Americans fought Russia after World War II. Like if the war continued, but then the Cold War.
Like Patton
would be
wanted it
called-
to?
If the
Yeah,
Cold War
exactly.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was maybe interesting. Would the Americans? Do you guys think that the Americans would have beaten the Russians?
If
Would that be a possibility? Because
well,
the Russians
it-
didn't have any
It
atomic bombs.
wouldn't have just been the Americans, though, would it?
Yeah,
If it was
Americans.
the
did it,
Americans,
the Allies.
if the
yeah.
Allies, the Western Allies, and if you throw Germany in there, which I'm sure
Yeah.
Germany would have sided, because Germany wanted that. I mean, they were trying to negotiate separately with the Western Allies
Yeah.
because they really saw Russia or the Soviet Union as more of an enemy to them than the Western Allies. So, yeah, all of them combined, and if you withdraw all the support that the Allies have been giving to Russia, maybe.
I think that would have, you know, you're looking at World War III right there, aren't you, at the end of
Yeah.
the day. So
Yeah.
I think we'd be living.
It would have been horrible.
Yeah.
We'd be
Would've been
living in a
horrible.
different time
A lot
now.
of people
Yeah.
are saying like the world is probably going to be destroyed militarily as well. Wouldn't that be the end of the planet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
That's probably true.
Gosh, yeah. We think World War II was bad as it was, but I would love to see, because I know like Napoleon, his two heroes, military heroes. I mean, he had a bunch, but two of the biggest ones were Alexander and Julius Caesar. So put all three of them in a time that was not of their own time period, like say put them in the pike and shot period or something, or put them in the year 1000 in the Crusades, and how would they do? You know, just how would they do against each other with tactics and things like that? Because they were all, maybe Alexander less, but certainly Julius Caesar and Napoleon were very heavily politically minded as well as military minded. Not that Alexander wasn't, but probably less so.
This is maybe a funny question, and I will ask you this, Chris. What would you say to Woodrow Wilson if he was still alive?
Why are you still alive?
No, you can do better. You can do better.
I don't know what I'd say to him, because he obviously wasn't a reasonable human being. I would ask him, you're a historian. I mean, that was what his life was history. He was a professor of history. I did other things too, but professor of history, you're a historian. Don't you understand that the policies that you have are not moving this country forward? You think you're a progressive, but you're not. You're pushing people back, and you're enabling people who want to push people back to get away with it.
You see how passionate he is about this towards Woodrow Wilson?
Someone hit a nerve there, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they know that. They know that. They know what they're doing.
Okay, Rice Not Twice is asking a question like, what century do you believe was the most influential / important in history? And I think it's pretty explanatory. It's pretty
20th century.
pretty great. Yeah, 20th century.
20th century.
Yeah.
Industrial Revolution.
Yeah. When are you going to Ypres, and is there a chance for a meet and greet?
I don't see why we couldn't do that. We're working on the dates. A lot of schedules to work around. So I will definitely announce something when we know, and when it's booked, and when it's happening. I'm sure we can set a time and place to do a meetup.
Yeah, like
for sure.
we could do
for
a
all of
meetup
us. Yeah.
in the middle of the town of Ypres, and
Yeah.
then maybe hang out, have
Yeah.
a dinner with everybody,
Yeah.
go to the Meningate at 8.
Which is closed right
8
now,
o'clock.
but yeah.
Well, no, it's still there. They're still
It's
they're
there, you
doing
can't-
it, but
They do it outside.
yeah,
of the
they're doing
main gate,
outside
yeah.
of it.
But yeah, yeah, we could definitely do that.
yeah. Yeah. What else?
All right, 5 minutes. 5 more minutes.
One really good question. Okay, maybe some non-historic questions.
Yeah.
before we
Okay.
end.
Non-history questions.
Non-history
Yeah.
questions.
Nothing to do with history.
Yeah. Although I would like some Winston Churchill questions, but still. No.
Nope, too late. You just said non-historical
questions.
questions.
Okay, yeah, non-historical questions. Okay, let me check.
Oh boy, I just saw JD say something.
Yeah, a
so-
meetup in Ypres would be fun.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Mhm.
Potentially me, Sander, Sean, Marcel, Mr. Terry,
Mr.
Rob,
JD, Nick.
JD, yeah, all of us. That'd be cool.
Okay, this is for you, Chris. Favorite alcohol? Black Spice?
No, it was good, but dang, dude, 40%.
Amaretto sour.
Amaretto sour, probably. Yeah, amaretto sour or apple whiskey.
You guys?
I don't listen. For all the joking we do, I'm with a bunch of guys. I've had a few drinks this week. I don't normally drink much at all, so I'm not a drinker. I never go to bars or anything like that. So if I drink, it's at home, and it's usually one or two here and there. So
Okay, somebody says opinion on Jordan Peterson.
I don't know anything about him.
I like him.
I don't know anything about him.
So what was your favorite alcohol? I just saw.
Oh,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
this question.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
For me, it's rum and Coke.
Anything fermented.
And then black spice.
Anything fermented. He's British after all.
Calvados.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a good question. What country has the best food?
Ooh. Now,
The Netherlands.
Italy.
Oh yeah, Italy. Yeah.
I haven't been to Italy yet, so I'll have to reevaluate after I go to Italy in April. Five spots still available on the tour. Of the countries I've been to,
It's definitely not France. By the way.
Austria had the best food.
Yeah.
I've only been to like 12 countries, but Austria's had the best food
Oh,
of
the
anyone.
schnitzels were great.
Schnitzels were
Yeah.
fantastic.
And that
yeah.
apple strudel.
Apple strudels,
That
yeah.
was amazing.
I think Asia. I've been to Asia
I
a few
haven't been,
times.
yeah.
And the
Yeah,
food
Indonesian
out
food.
there is Indonesian food.
Oh, man.
Even some of the Thai food I had when I was in Thailand was amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is for you, Sean. Best country, and why is it Scotland?
You know,
Actually, he's right. Whoever said that is right.
I bet that he's commented a few times.
It definitely is
It was,
Scotland.
where is he? Where is he?
Scotland's my favorite country I've been to.
Scotland, you know, I am English, but my grandfather was Scottish, so there's Scottish blood in me. That's the red hair. I've got Irish heritage as well, so up Scotland. Let's go with it.
Scotland's great. And
Scotland.
for me,
I
it's
need to go there more though. I've
the
been-
people in the Highlands. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Inverness last year and spent a bit of time. I went to a few distilleries.
I haven't been that far north yet. I need to get there.
I went
Yeah.
to Culloden and a few other bits and pieces. I need to go Edinburgh. I've never been.
Oh, yeah.
I really want to go
Yeah.
to Edinburgh.
A lot of
Edinburgh.
history there.
Bro.
Edinburgh.
The West Highland Way I'd love to walk,
Yes.
which is
My daughter wants to do that.
Glasgow to Fort William. So that's on
So
my
something
bucket list.
really cool about Scotland is that they have what's called right to roam, which means there's not really any trespassing. As long as you're not bothering the people on whose land you're walking, you can just hang out. You can pitch a tent and camp out. As long as you're not bothering them and you're not like in their personal space. If you're on their land, even the King's land at Balmoral, you can just walk. And so there's like the West Highland Way, which is what 90 miles or something like that. Is that that
I
one?
think it's a bit longer.
Is it longer than that?
Yeah.
And a lot of people go there and they walk it, and there's places you can stop
Yeah.
on the way and get dinner or get
Yeah, so
stay the
I saw a
night.
video,
It ends in
yeah.
Fort William, and you can either end there or you can summit Ben Nevis.
Yeah, Ben Nevis is right
and
there.
come back
at
there. So
Fort
I know
William.
some people. I don't know if Ben Nevis is part of the route or not, but
But it's
I
right
know-
there at Fort
Yeah,
William.
people
yeah.
generally they either finish at Fort William or they do Ben Nevis and back down. But you go past Loch Lomond and some beautiful places.
And
so.
Ben Nevis is the tallest mountain in the British Isles.
I
so,
saw a
yeah.
clip on YouTube. A couple of mountain bikers. They
met the king.
Yeah, they met the king.
They
That
ran
was
into King
awesome.
Charles. Yeah.
It was
Like,
really
how
cool.
crazy
The guy was
was
wearing a
there on his
GoPro.
own, no
Yeah.
security at all.
Yeah.
They-
Probably
they
some
did say-
snipers way
They
back.
did say they were out of view,
Yeah.
but he
That's
was very down to earth, very
Yeah.
cool guy.
And you know, the
yeah.
best thing I find about this video is that they didn't ask him for a photo or selfie or anything.
No,
Like,
no,
They
no.
were just talking casually and
Yeah.
then they just continued their day.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
We got time for one or two more.
Who's gonna take Burt? Marcel.
Hopefully, the owner of the Airbnb is not watching this.
Marcel's the ninja of the group, so I feel it should be him. That
Yeah,
does
yeah,
it.
yeah. There are some cameras here on the
He's also the
Airbnb,
one
so-
most likely to hit his head in German mines, just because he's the tallest
Oh
of all
man, I
of us.
did so much.
And that's why we were wearing helmets. Did all of us hit our heads at least once?
Yeah.
The
loads
helmets
of
were
times
so
today.
important. They
Yeah.
were so good.
I think my like 10 times already.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt
10 to
bad
15
actually because
times.
every time I hit my head, there was just a barrage of foul language, and then people, I'd be like, "Oh no, what have I done?"
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh,
we
boy.
have to
Blowing
give
up?
Zach Mills some props. He did 10
Memberships?
memberships, yeah.
Thank you,
to,
Zach. Appreciate
presents
that.
to people.
Very
Even
cool.
Mr. Terry was one of the lucky ones. So,
Nice.
Really cool.
And if you remember, once I get back, I record videos a day in advance, so you get to see everything a day early. But I'm out of stuff. I only have one more left, and it's going to go live tomorrow. And then it'll be a couple days before there's any new content. So,
Okay, one last question.
last question.
Last question. I'll give you guys some time to do the last
Question
question.
of all questions.
The question.
Bring
of
Make
all
it a good
questions.
one. This is the last hot tub question until spring.
Yeah, if Winston Church was involved, you have more chances. So,
You're
the last
biased.
question. Yeah, I'm too biased with
I
that.
think I'm more pruny today than I was yesterday.
That's because of just 4 days of soaking
Yeah.
in the hot tub.
So, Burt, you're gonna take Burt.
Yeah.
And then for the next trip, he's gonna be the mascot again.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him to Ypres.
Yeah, we should bring him to the battlefield or something.
Maybe some new clothes. Give him a history.
Yeah,
Get him a
not bad.
history. How about
I quite like his butler outfit.
we
you
should
know.
get him a
Yeah,
History
that sounds
Underground shirt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I should have put mine on him
And a
for
VTH
tonight.
cap. VTH cap.
Nice. There you go.
All right, nice. To be fair, Marcel, in my opinion, you can look for the last
I
question.
don't have my glasses on.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm an
that's
old
true.
fart, you know,
You
I-
do the last
I
question.
need reading
I
glasses.
don't want people to hate me that I didn't pick it
Marcel's the only one on this in this group that's older than me. So, and he's
Doesn't show. It doesn't show.
only by a
Doesn't
couple,
show, yeah, that's
only a
true.
couple years
out.
older
That's
than
true,
me.
that's true.
What colour is a mirror? That's brilliant.
What color is the mirror?
Ask me
That was it, guys. Thank you. That was a nice stream.
Ask me that when I'm drunk, and I'll probably have loads to say.
It's what color does a mirror smell like? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Oh come on, you're better than that, guys.
Oh boy, I don't even want to know. I'll watch the playback later and see.
Do a philosophical
A
question.
philosophical
A
question.
philosophical
It
question.
doesn't have to be history either. Just a
No, in fact,
good question.
yeah, a good
Yeah.
non-history question. Philosophic.
on the screen. It's screwing that up.
Yeah, bit of a pain. Oh, Scottish mad lads back at it again.
Aren't all Scottish mad lads?
That's literally his name.
Ooh. What came first?
Chicken.
Chicken or the egg?
Oh, there's a good one there actually, but I'll save that maybe as a little Brucey bonus one.
Okay. What came first? the chicken or the
Favorite
egg?
British battle?
Favorite British battle.
Market Garden.
The Somme. And favorite such a
Yeah, there's
On
not
British
many
soil,
there's
or-
not many questions that come in, but a favorite British battle.
On British soil or?
well,
any-
anyone
any
that they're
British
involved
battle.
in. British
Battle
are
of
involved in.
Britain as well.
And
Battle of
it's hard to
Britain's a
say
good
that
one.
battle is your
It's
favorite.
favorite,
but
yeah,
one
exactly.
That
It's
interests you.
Yeah.
The Somme's the one that interests me the most, even though it was horrible for both sides.
Africa. It's also against
Market
Rommel.
Garden.
Market Garden, yeah.
Again, I
100%.
said it yesterday. That, again, the Boer War, Zulu
Oh, the
campaign.
Boer
If
War.
I
Yeah,
could
that's
go-
a
if I-
fascinating one.
If I
It
could go
is.
be a fly on the wall there,
Zulu
I
Wars.
would die happy.
And the Boer War was where a lot of the guys who would be generals in World War One were like younger officers, like captains and
Even
lieutenants.
Prime
and things
Minister.
Like that.
That's where
Yeah,
they were
even
back,
Churchill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was captured there as well.
baptized in warfare
Yep.
because it was a pretty rough one. Down
The Boer War was to World War One what World War One was in many ways to World War Two,
yeah.
or the Mexican War was to the U.S. Civil War, things like that.
And the
Okay.
other one was who would win in a boxing match between us. And I think
Wouldn't be me.
if all five of us teamed up on Marcel,
Yeah, we would
all
still lose.
We
we would still lose. We would
we
still
would
lose.
get our heads kicked.
Marcel would win. I know who would win in darts, and it would not be any of us. 'cause
No,
it,
we
Oh,
suck.
Nick won.
it was Nick that won. It was
yeah.
close at the end. I did beat. I beat Rob in the first one, but
That one. Where's the handsome guy in the back? Go. Well, Burt is still here, Rob. Burt is still here with us. So yeah, history. A guy in the game, history in your hand. Where is the handsome guy in the back? Go.
He's
Well,
here.
He's here. Yeah, he's here. Burt is
He's right
still
there.
here.
But-
right there.
Yeah.
Viking pineapple.
All right,
on
last
pizza.
one. Last one.
Absolutely.
Pineapple on pizza?
Absolutely.
Yes.
No.
Nope.
And never. Never, never, never. That is a
Yeah,
sin.
we're
Okay.
asking for more questions and we're getting stuff like pineapple on pizza or
Okay.
is a hot dog a sandwich?
Okay. I want You know what? For the last one, no questions. I want everybody to spam Burt. Let's get our hands up for Burt. because he has
F
been
in
a
the
supportive-
chat for Burt.
F in the chat for Burt because Burt, he has been a supportive guy this
Yes.
whole weekend. He made us happy. We had an amazing time. We sang with him.
We did. We did.
It was some rough times as well here, but he
Look how happy he
got
is.
us through it. So
He's
And
so
my-
giddy.
These
we got some Burt.
and
Nice.
these for these guys, this is kind of the end of the trip for them. They're all going back home tomorrow.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
Rob and I still have a couple days left. We're doing some Muse Argon stuff the next couple of days. But
Burt.
excited to bring you all the stuff we've seen.
Burt,
Can't wait. So,
Burt.
thank you everybody in the chat. Thanks for everybody who
Cheers,
did a
guys.
super
Take
chat. We'll
care.
see you again soon.
Later. Oh, what are you doing?
By the way, Burt.
Oh boy.